I'll copy paste everything for people who join in late. I have WhatsApp groups from team 1, team 2, team 4, team 8, team 7, and team 6. Waiting for WhatsApp groups from teams 5 and team 3.
So this is team 3 speaking. We did add you in our WhatsApp group.
One sec. Can you kindly rename it to team 3? In that case, yeah, I can see that. If you could rename it, it'll be easier for me to keep track. Team 5 stay at homies. Are you guys here? Ritesh, Ashwant.
We can't be team 4, sir.
One sec. MH14.
Okay, fine. Fine, Major, then we'll change it.
Yeah, you can just change the name. Yeah, that's all. Which means the only team that we're waiting for is team. So we have MH14ers on team 1, Traveling Bradbury's team 2, Eternal Fealty team 3. VCMT, Shrey, are you here? Okay, I can't see him. Team 5, team 6, team 7, team 8 are all here. Vedat, I think the only person missing is team 4, Chabra. If you could.
I'll call him. Yeah, I'll just call him.
Darren, why do you do a fucking underscore? We have inconsistent naming. Yeah, it's teammate space hyphen space Tarun. Fuck, dude, look at Team 6. They're breaking all the rules. It's
Rohan, I think you're not on mute, so
so sorry.
Yeah, sir. Stays here. I've told him to make the WhatsApp group with you, so I just resent.
Okay, so we'll get started then. All finalists, kindly switch on your cams, please. We'll need your cams on. And we'll need your hands, both hands on the screen at all points in time. Team 6, Team 8, can we have your cams on, please? Multiple other people with cams off. We need all finalists to have their cams on. Team 7, K4K, Team 3, Rajat. Kindly switch on your cam so that we can get started. I still see a lot of people who have not switched on their cams. Abhijit Murthy from K4K, can you kindly switch on your cam?
Yes, just a second.
Sure. Shikhar Sarangi, who else? Vedant, could you just track everything? I mean, if someone's in the final and don't have the cams on, if you could just inform them as and when you spot them.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I'll get started with the finals. So welcome to the finale of the general quiz at Interrobang 2022, organized by NALSAR University of Law, Hyderabad. Once again, thanks to the quiz club at NALSAR for having me over. Always a pleasure to be back at Interrobang for these quizzes. Hopefully we can have this as an offline event in Jan next year. All the very best to our 8 finalists. All finalists, kindly adjust your cams so that your hands are on the screen at all points in time. We need your hands on the screen. I will have to point out if that's not happening. Reet, if you could adjust your cam so that your hands are visible. This is how we'll do the finals. I think we need to wrap up by 5:30, 5:45. So 4 rounds, 2 written rounds of 3 questions each, a clockwise round of 9 questions, and an anti-clockwise round of 9 questions. For the written rounds, you don't need to touch your phones, laptops, any other gadgets. So just keep your hands free from all devices. Kindly get on a voice call with your teammates, discuss the questions over a voice, and the rules for each round will pop up as and when they come up. So this is round 1. Written round, 3 questions, 10 points for every correct answer. The topic is minimalist art based on historical events / personalities, etc., etc. So usually you have minimalist posters based on movies, but we'll do a spin on them and use minimalist art based on historical events, personalities, etc. So basically 3 simple images, and you just need to identify what each one is a pointer towards. Okay, simple, straightforward, should be done in 5 minutes tops. Question number 1. Which 20th century event is depicted here? An iconic landmark 20th century event. Look at what is in the bottom. The bottom 1/4 of the image is what is relevant. You can see what appears like a rectangle, a long thing with a gap in between. It should have been a long gray rectangle, but that's a bit missing. Something happened because of which that bit is missing. If it helps, this is an event from the last quarter of the 20th century. An event from the famous event from the last quarter of the 20th century.
Where do we send the
Yeah, so all three answers in one go at the end of question number 3 on your WhatsApp group. You can just discuss them with your teammates right now and send them all as a single entry at the end of question number 3 on the WhatsApp group.
Major, you said the blue part is something missing, is it?
No, the gray rectangle at the bottom, it should have been one complete rectangular block, but you can see there is a vertical segment missing. That's a pointer towards something that happened in the last quarter of the 20th century. Do you want me to further narrow down the timeline for you?
Yeah, sure.
1980s. Something from the 1980s. Question number 2. Which non-mainland European is the subject of this minimalist poster? This person is associated with the kind of stuff that you see here. Again, think of all the non-mainland European locations. Think of the most prominent ones. He sees something on the extreme left. So this is just an indicator towards how he works.
Major, did you say location?
Yeah, so think of the most prominent non-mainland locations in Europe. Don't think of any obscure non-mainland location. Think of the most prominent location that is not a part of the mainland. And then pick a very, very famous person. Look at what is happening to the horse there. And he's done this to a horse. Whatever is happening on the extreme right, he's actually done it to a horse. But we would associate him with the more famous thing he's associated with is an entirely different organism. He has also done this, but the more famous one is an entirely different organism. But in the context of that organism has not suffered the fate of the horse as depicted in this visual. But this is the kind of work this person does. Question number 3. Which legend of his field, 20th century personality, is hinted at through this minimalist work? Plenty of clues to work out who this legendary, arguably the greatest ever in his field. Enough hints in there. Look at everything. Look at all the panels there. Okay, let's cycle through the 3 questions and then you can send in your answers. Number 1, I narrowed down the timeline to 1980s. Somebody who does the kind of work that you see in the visual, best associated with entirely different organism, which is intact and not suffered the fate of the horse. But many other organisms like the horse here has suffered this fate. And which legend can you associate with this minimalist poster? Okay, all teams kindly send in all 3 answers as one entry on the WhatsApp group and please tag me once you've done that so that I know your answer is in. all three answers as one entry on the WhatsApp group, and please tag me. I have it from team 7. I have it from team 4. Waiting on the others. Team 6 in, team 3 in, 3, 6, 4, and 7. 1 in, waiting for 2, 5, and 8. 5 in. Waiting for 2 and 8 now. 2 also in. Last team, team 8. Just waiting on team 8. All right, so all answers in. All 8 teams have sent in their answers. Let's go through the answers now. People on the call who are not taking part, you can shout out the answer. Number 1, what event is this?
Sir, is it the fall of the Berlin Wall?
Perfect answer. This is the fall of the Berlin Wall, 1980s. A minimalist poster depicting how the Berlin Wall fell. Number 2, who was the subject of this minimalist?
For Enzo Ferrari?
Not Enzo Ferrari. Nice guess with the horse though.
Damien Hirst.
Damien Hirst is a brilliant answer. This is the kind of work that Damien Hirst does. Best known for his shark that is preserved in formalin, but he's collected other animals, split them, and arranged them in this format. So, iconic artist from Britain. So Damien Hirst will get you the points. Number 3.
Cassius Clay / Muhammad Ali.
Cassius Clay / Muhammad Ali, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. You can see the Olympic medal thrown into the river. You can see his world championship belt there. You can see a soldier with a slash over him to indicate the fact that he didn't want to join the US Army during the Vietnam War. And you can finally see the torch there hinting at him lighting the flame at the 1996 Atlanta Games. Superb answer. This is Cassius Clay / Muhammad Ali. Let's give out points. Vedat, who's keeping scores?
Sanjana is.
Perfect. So here are the scores. Team 1 gets 20. 20 to team 1. Team 2 gets 20. Team 3 gets 20. Team 4 gets 10. Team 5 gets 10. Team 6, the only ones to get 30 so far. Team 6 on 30. Team 7, 10. And team 8, 10. Sanjana, can you confirm if you have all the scores?
Yeah, I got it.
Perfect. Thank you. So moving on to the next round, which is, oops, sorry. I think I forgot to remove these questions. But yeah, if you want to take a shot, non-comp, I think I had 6 questions and removed 3.
Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. You can see multiple films hinted at. You have Terminator, you have Commando, and then you can see him in the governor's limousine there, Arnold Schwarzenegger. So round 2 is clockwise, 9 questions, pounds and bounce. Do I need to explain pounds and bounce? If you want me to explain, kindly indicate on the mic what pounds and bounce are. If you want me to explain, I'll explain it for you. Okay, I don't think anyone needs it.
So sorry, before we begin this round, could Reith from Eternal Reality, can you please readjust your camera? We can only see like the top half of your head and your hands are not visible. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Clockwise, 9 questions, starting with team number 1 and going clockwise. So on the pounds, it is +10, -5. Your pounces will be taken on the WhatsApp group. Once you've sent in your pounds, kindly tag me. If there are multiple parts to a question, you need all the parts to get the full 10. And on the bounce, it is +10. If there are multiple parts, again, you get part points. If a question is not answered, the next question will go to the team seated next to the team that received the previous question. So if it's team 1's question, nobody answers, next question will go to team number 2. All right. So all the best. Let's start with question number 1 to team number 1. Some years ago, the Telangana government adopted a new state icon in addition to the already existing 6 symbols. That is the state bird, which is the Indian roller, state flower, the Tanner's cassia, fruit mango, tree jammi, sport kabaddi, and animal black buck. This symbol is known by the scientific name Channa striata and is cared for at the Rajendranagar farm run by a government department. Apart from its regular use, This thing also earns the government in excess of 20 lakhs around the onset of monsoon as miscellaneous revenue. What is the miscellaneous purpose that this thing is put to? What is the miscellaneous source of all this revenue? We start with a local question. If you want to pounce on the mic, please say so-and-so team is going to pounce and then send in the answer on the WhatsApp group. It's something very iconic to do with Telangana, Hyderabad. A lot of fans for this thing. A lot of people who think this is something very, very effective. Connoisseurs from across the country and people coming from across the world.
Excuse me, Major. I'm
Kindly mute, Shikhar.
I'm so sorry. I made a mistake.
Yeah, sure. I hope you did not blurt out the answer though.
I fortunately did not. I was actually looking to pouncing. I was not able to hear you.
Pounce. So the pounce will be taken on the WhatsApp group. You can type it out there and then tag me. Open on the pounce. Last call. So far, I see only team 3 pouncing. I'll close the pounce with team 3. Just taking team 3's pounce. Kindly send the answer on the group, please. Okay, got team 3's answer. Team 1, you're direct. You can unmute and answer team 1.
We'll guess this is guppy fish and they eat mosquito larvae in the monsoon.
And what is the miscellaneous purpose?
No guesses.
Okay, team 2. Team 2 traveling Bradburys.
Major, can you just repeat what team 1 said, please?
Team 1 said this is guppy fish, but they did not have a guess for the miscellaneous purpose.
So this is guppy fish, and basically it kills mosquito larvae. So malaria and dengue, stuff like that.
So basically, fish used against
malaria and dengue.
Got it. Team 3 pounced. Team 4.
Major, do we get part points for just the icon and not the purpose?
No, we need the complete answer. And I will not confirm if it is correct until I get the correct answer.
All right. Pass.
Okay. Team 5.
Sir, Major, this is basically a type of a snakehead fish where they are basically used to give as prasadam in a particular for treating asthma patients. During monsoon season, they have difficulty in breathing. So basically, during that time, they are given as prasadam in those places.
Perfect answer, and that will get you the full 10 points. I hope all of you have heard of the iconic asthma medicine treatment in Hyderabad. So this is the fish that is used to administer the asthma medicine during these asthma camps that happen in Hyderabad. Great answer there, team 5. Full 10 points to you. People from across India, people from across the world come for taking this. So full 10 points to team number 5. On the pounds, team 3 also gets plus 10. Team 3 gets 10, team 5 gets 10, and question will go to team number 2. In 1935, a national team visited Australia and New Zealand for a long tour. This team played 48 matches and lost none of them, despite the bad ground conditions and weather. One of the big highlights of the tour for them was meeting with Don Bradman at Adelaide. At a reception, Bradman even went on to say that the visitors were much better than Australia and that they had a lot to learn from them. He also expressed his hopes that this would be the forerunner for a visit from another team from the same nation. Such was the impact of this team's visit that the Perth Sports Depot started marketing goods branded after their best player. What exactly was the Sports Depot selling? See if you can figure out which team. And Bradman said, okay, I now hope another team from your own country will visit us. Again, from the timeline, look at the fact that they played 48 matches and lost none. around that timeline, which team can you think of that fits with the description there? And therefore, what did they sell? Marketing branded goods after their best player. Let me repeat all teams. We need both hands on the screen, please. I'll call out names if I can't see both hands. Team 5, Ashwant, can we have both hands on the screen?
Major, it's Team 6's direct, right?
Yeah, it's your direct. Look at the timeline. See if you can pick a team that fits the description there. Legendary team that lost nothing at all. Last call for pounce. If you want to pounce, please mention on the mic you want to pounce and then pounce. Okay, so far only team 3 have indicated their willingness. Team 3, I'll request you in the future, if you want to pounce, mention on the mic you want to pounce so that I know that I need to keep it open because I'm not looking at the phone at all times. Last call, otherwise I'm closing now. Okay, closing the pounce. Answered in the audience by Vedarth, great answer. So pounce is closed. Team 6, you're direct.
Frankie's after Frank Worrell.
Frankie's after?
Frank Worrell.
Frank Worrell, okay. Team 7.
This guy. We'll say hockey sticks after Dhyan Chand.
Hockey sticks after Dhyan Chand is an excellent answer and will get you your 10 points. Great answer there. This was the Indian hockey team that was making waves in the 1930s and 40s. So the Indian hockey team visited Australia and met Don Bradman, and Bradman expressed hope that now the Indian cricket team will also come and visit us. Superb answer, Team 7, plus 10 to you. On the pounds, great answer by Team 3 again. Team 3 also gets plus 10. 3 gets 10, 7 gets 10. Question to team number 8. This documentary about acid attacks on women in Pakistan won the 2012 Academy Award for Best Documentary Short Subject, thereby making its director, Sharmeen Obaid Chinon, Pakistan's first ever Oscar winner. The name of this film is also an idiom that refers to an action or gesture intended to preserve one's reputation or honor. What is the very apt name of this documentary? Let me play the video. All right, so what is the name of the film?
Team 5 bounces.
Team 6 would be bouncing, Major.
All right.
Team 3 is pouncing as well.
Team 4 is bouncing.
Okay, plenty of bounces.
Team 7's bouncing.
All right. Very apt title. Last call for.
So can we answer?
One sec. Let me just receive all the bounces. Give me a sec. I have bounces from 6, 5, 3, and 4 so far. Last call. And 7 as well. Closing the pounds. Team 8, you can answer now. One sec. Team 5 have not completed. Okay, got Team 5's pounds. Team 8, you can answer.
Yeah, we'll say saving face.
Since the doctor is trying to restore the patient's faces, this is saving face, which is also an idiom used in the same context. Excellent answer. 10 points to team 8. On the pounds, 10 to team 7, minus 5 to team 4, 10 to team 5, 10 to team 6, and 10 to team 3. So team 4 gets a -5, and the other teams get +10. That is team 7, 3, 5, 6, and 8. And we come back to team number 1. In the Westminster parliamentary systems, that is, those modeled after the ones in the UK, the members of parliament and legislators who hold no governmental office are known by a particular term. The term derives from the general area where such people can be spotted. What term, commonly used in India, in an entirely different context? Very helpful visual coming up.
Team 7's bouncing.
Okay.
Team 8 is bouncing.
Okay. Team 6, Shikhar, can we have both your hands on the screen, please?
Major, can you go back to the question, please?
Sure. And I think team 3, Reeth, can we have both your hands on the
Team
screen,
6
please?
bouncing.
Yeah, sure.
Team 2 is bouncing.
Right. Last call for pounds. So far, I have bounces from 7 and 8. Waiting for 6 and 2 as well. Very helpful visual. Those who hold no governmental office, visual is helpful. Shikhar, I'll have to repeat. We need both hands on the screen. You don't need to use. I need both hands on the screen, please, Shikhar Sarangi.
Right, sir. I'm very sorry. The issue is that we're communicating through Discord and we're unable to mute. So I'm having to.
It'll be great if you can get
accept
to
the
voice
results.
call.
I try and just I don't know how I can. Right.
But mute yourself, please. Yeah, thanks. So far, 7, 8, and 6 have bounced.
2 will not bounce.
Okay, 2 will not bounce.
To team 1, right?
Yeah, this will be team 1's direct once bounce is closed. Okay, closing the bounce, team 1, you're there.
Backbenchers.
Backbenchers is an excellent answer. So people who do not contribute to any parliamentary proceeding, they are sit on the benches at the back. Therefore, they are backbenchers. +10 to team 1. On the pounds, 6 gets 10, 8 gets 10, 7 gets 10. So 1, 6, 7, 8 all get +10. And question now to team number 2. A third of the workers in the 54,000 square foot free trade zone of Costa Rica suffer from carpal tunnel syndrome as a result of the strain on their hands. This region is the only place where a certain item is produced. They are paid $50 to $60 a week for the job that involves winding yarn over a core. From inside to outside, the windings consist of 121 yards of rough gray wool, 45 yards of white wool, 53 yards of fine gray wool, and finally 150 yards of fine white cotton. The entire process has to be done by hand as a machine cannot replicate the perfection, which explains why a lot of people suffer from the condition. What exactly do they make? Look at the fact that they're manufactured in Costa Rica, and this is very fine yarn. And if it helps, all the final product can easily fit into your hands. It will fit into the palm of your hand. And about 80 to 90% of these things are used up in the Americas itself. Some percentage go to a few Asian nations like Japan, but majority is used up in the Americas itself.
Team 6 will bounce.
Okay. Look at the extra hints given. Majority used up in the Americas. A few are sent out to nations like Japan as well. And it will fit into your
Team 5 bounces.
Okay.
Team 7 bouncer.
5, 6, 7. Last call. Will close the pounds. 5, 6, and 7 have all pounced. And question is with team number 2. Team 2.
Let's say baseballs.
And you will be right for saying baseball. So these are baseballs, majority of which are used up in the United States itself. And the other main nations that play baseball include Japan, which is where they are exported to Japan as well. Superb answer, team 2, +10 to you. +10 to team 7. +10 to team 5. And I wish I could give extra points to team 6, who actually pounced with the baseball emoji. +10 to team 6 as well. Team 2 gets 10. 5, 6, 7 all get +10. And question to team number 3 now. It lasted 24 days, featured 80 primary protagonists, and was given the nickname the White Flowing River. The first fruits of all this labor was auctioned and was bought by a guy called Dr. Kanuga for a sum of $1,600. What event? What was bought by Dr. Kanuga?
5 ounces.
All right. The White Flowing River. A lot of people involved, and the appearance was such that it looked like a white flowing river. $80 primary protagonists, but many more people. And from a distance, it
Team
looked
7
like
bouncing.
okay.
Team 8 bouncing.
Okay. From a
Team 1 is
distance,
bouncing.
it looked like a white flowing river. 1, 7, and 8. And 6 as well. Last call.
2 is bouncing.
Okay, we'll close with team 2's bounce. Team 2, are you bouncing? Just waiting for your bounce.
Yeah, just typing.
Sure. Okay, got team 2's bounce as well. Bounce is closed. Question is with team number 3.
Is it Salt and Dandi March is the event?
This is Dandi March, and this was the first salt produced after they got to Dandi. 80 primary marchers, a lot of people joined them, and all of them were wearing white khadi, which is why white flowing river. Excellent answer, team 3. Full 10 points to you. And on the bounce, team 1 gets 10, team 7 gets 10, team 6 gets 10, team 5 gets 10, but unfortunately team 2 will get a -5. And question will go to team number 4 now.
Major, team 8 bounced as well.
I'm sorry, my bad. Did I not mention team 8? So team 8 will also get +10 if I did not mention them.
Yeah.
Question to team number 4. It gets its name from a Latin word that means cloak and was first used for white linen covering a stiffened square card, the purpose of which was to keep dust and insects from falling into the Eucharistic elements in a chalice. The context in which the term is used today involves white or black cloth and at times certain items of regional identity. What is this term that also is used interchangeably with whatever this cloth covers in this context? Again, if you know what the Eucharist is symbolic of, you may be able to work this out. Team 5, Ashwant, can we have both your hands on the screen, please? Sorry about this, just ensuring that everyone have their hands on the screen, that's all. Again, if you know what the Eucharist is symbolic of, if nobody objects, I can tell you what these items of identity are. Any objections? Okay, I don't see an objection. So the items in question are flags. And in Christianity, if you know what the Eucharist is symbolic of, and the items of regional identity are flags, national flags to be specific. No pounces yet. And in that context, either a white or black cloth is used or a flag is used. Again, think of common contexts where white and black cloths are used. Think of common circumstances. Okay, I don't see any bounces, so we'll close the bounce and take it from team number 5.
Pound 6 is bouncing major.
Okay, we'll wait for team 6's bounce in that case. Closing the bounce with team 6's bounce. Okay, got team 6's bounce. Team 7, team 4, you're direct.
Is it the checkered flag that is waved at the finish line in sporting events?
Nice guess, but nothing to do with the checkered flag in sporting events. Team 5. 5 was passing, 6 bounced, 7.
Major, is this the Jolly Roger skull and crossbones in black and white? The cross being the Eucharistic element.
Nice guess, but not the Jolly Roger. Team 8.
Major, we'll say cheesecloth, the Eucharistic element being bread and the cloth that covers the bread in the chalice.
Nice angle, but no. Team 1.
We'll say Paul, as in Paul bearers.
Paul, as in Paul bearers, is an excellent answer and will get you your 10 points. So this is Paul, the cloth that covers a funeral casket. Excellent answer. The Eucharist in Christian symbology hints at the body of Jesus Christ. So the food that is consumed is regarded to be his body. So covering the body. So this is Paul. Excellent answer there from team number 1. Full 10 points to you. Team 6 bounced and said cloth used to cover corpses, but it did not give me the exact term. So we'll give them no negs. I wanted a specific term. You're on the right track. So no negs to team 6, but 10 points to team number 1. And question now to team number 5. Sorry, question to team number 2. Wes Anderson's The Grand Budapest Hotel jumps through 3 different time periods, one set in the 1930s and portraying the hotel in all its elegance, while another is set in the 1980s and features a character that the author explains the reasons for a book named after the hotel. Sandwiching the two is a timeline set in the 1960s, wherein 2 characters are seen discussing the story of the hotel. To lend accuracy to the timelines and also as a reflection of cinematic history, Anderson chose a specific shooting method. This also meant he had to send disclaimers to the theaters exhibiting the film. What innovative method can you see in the Grand Budapest Hotel? What did he do?
Team 6 will be bouncing major.
1 and 6. Look at the fact that he had to send disclaimers to the theaters exhibiting the film.
Team 7 bouncing.
All right. 1, 6, and 7.
Team 3 is bouncing as well.
1, 3, 6, and 7. Last call. Otherwise, I'm closing with 1, 3, 6, and 7.
Major, is bounce still open?
Bounce is still open. Last call.
Oh yeah, teammate bouncing.
Okay. Closing the bounce with 1, 3, 6, 7, and 8.
Major, do you need any more?
Which team? Which team was this?
7 major.
1 sec.
Specific or is this enough?
Yeah, team 7, I need more actually. I need a specific term.
You need anything more, Major?
It'll be great if you can add something more. Bounce is now closed. We'll just wait for team 7 to improve and then close. Okay, we have an improvement from team 7. Team 2, you're direct now.
AJ will say that he used the film had different scenes were in different aspect ratios because he used different lenses as that were popular at the time.
different aspect ratios in the film is what we are looking for. You can see that one segment of the film is an aspect ratio depicted here, the other like this, the third one like this, and the exact aspect ratios being 1.85:1 from 1985, the storyline. In the 1930s, it was 1.37:1. In the 1960s, it was 2.35. So these were the aspect ratios being used then, which is what he thought, okay, to lend accuracy to the shoot, let me use the exact same aspect ratios. On the pounds, team 1 gets 10. So team 2 already got 10 on the bounce. Team 1 gets 10. Team 6 gets 10. Team 3 gets 10. Team 8 gets a -5. For all their explanation and sort of conveying what we were looking for, team 7 will give you also +10. So only team 8 gets a -5. Everyone gets a +10. And the final question of this round to team number 3.
Sorry, Major, could you repeat which all teams got +10s?
1 gets 10, 2 gets 10, 3 gets 10, 6 gets 10, 7 gets 10, 8 gets a -5.
Okay, got it.
Final question of this round to team number 3. Conrad Martins was an 18th century English landscape painter who trained under the famous watercolorist Copley Fielding. The turning point in his life came when an artist named Augustus Earle fell ill, and the position Augustus Earle occupied was offered to Conrad Martins. His job got Martins acquainted with the gentry of several countries, especially Australia, and he became the most prominent and proficient landscape artist in Australia. But tell me, what was the specific job offered to Martins? And if it helps, Martins his work spanned the late 18th and the early 19th centuries. So first half of 19th, second half of 18th. And if it helps, the job was offered to him in the first half of the 19th century. I have a few of his paintings following. Look at the fact that the job was offered to him in the first half of the 19th century. And look at the kind of paintings here. Look at the fact that he got acquainted with people of many, many countries. Most of them, if it helps, Commonwealth countries. As in some Commonwealth countries and some non-Commonwealth countries also. Some very prominent non-Commonwealth countries also. One country being Australia.
Team 1 is bouncing.
Okay. And if it helps, very specifically, the job was offered to him in the 1820s, 1830s. Look at all these visuals.
Team 6 is bouncing, Major.
Yeah, sure. Look at the kind of paintings that you can look at the kind of imagery here. 1820s, 1830s. Visited many, many countries. Focus on this painting maybe. And even this. So what was the job performed by Conrad Martins? Last call for pounds. So far I have team 3, team 1 and team 6.
Can we bounce? Team 2 is
Which
bouncing.
team?
Team 2.
Yeah, team 2 can pounce. You can pounce. Team 3, I need more context in your answer. Need team 3 to improve.
Major, who is directing this?
This will be, wait, let's see. Team 2 answered the previous question. So this will be team 3 is direct. Team 3, you don't need to pounce. You can unpounce. Team 3, Rajat, can we have both your hands on the screen, please?
Sorry for that. I'm writing the answer on the WhatsApp group. Sorry.
Sure, no worries, but you don't have to pounce because it's your direct.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. We'll just wait for team 2 to complete and then close it. So far 1, 3, 6, and 2. Sorry, not 3. It's their direct. They can unpounce. Got team 2's pounce as well. Pounce is now closed. Team 2, this is team 3. This is your direct.
So we can answer now?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So his job was as a colonial surveyor. He would have to give illustrations along with the text. This could also be called the job of a topographical artist, but he was essentially a surveyor. With the written description, the paintings that he would make of landscapes would grow along them, and these documents, these surveys would go back to the colonial masters.
But what was the specific job?
The title of the job.
What specifically was the job that was offered? What was the position Augustus Earl? What was the exact position that he replaced Augustus Earl in?
If Team 3 could add to their answer, he was replaced as an artist on James Cook's ship.
Not Captain Cook's ship. Passes to Team 4. Team 4.
Pass.
Team 4 passing. Team 5.
So we'll say he sort of helped Darwin on the HMS Beagle with painting.
He was the official painter on HMS Beagle. That is what we were looking for. The official resident artist on HMS Beagle, which is why he ended up visiting all these countries, and all these paintings were taken during the course of the journey of the HMS Beagle. Superb answer there, Team 5. Helped in by Team 3 there. So Team 5 gets 10. On the pounds, Team 2 gets 10. Team 6 gets 10. And Team 1 also gets 10. So 1, 6, 7, and 1, 6, and 2. And on the bounce, Team 5.
Major, there's no chance of Team 3 getting partial points given that he was a ship artist.
We'll give you 5 points for coming that close. For saying ship and official painter on a ship.
Thank you.
Give you 5 points. 5 points to Team 3. But
Major?
Yeah.
Sorry, Team 4 is leaving, so you can just skip them.
Sure. No worries. So that's the end of 2 rounds. Sanjana, if we can have a quick look at the scores at this point.
Yeah, sure. Team 1 is at 70 points. Team 2 is at 45 points. Team 3 is at 75 points. Team 4 is at 5 points. Team 5 is at 60 points. Team 6 is at 90 points. Team 7 is at 70 points. And Team 8 is at 35 points.
All right. So anyone's game. Next written round coming up. You can all keep your phones down and just focus on the question. You need to handle your phones only once you need to send in the answer. Question number 1. So yeah, 3 questions, 10 points for the correct answer. The topic is puns. Every question will be a pun. The answer that we are looking for will be a pun. See if you can form suitable puns based on the question that pops up. Question number 1. The National Herald case from a few years ago, where Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi were named for misappropriation of funds, has at its heart the newspaper of the same name started by Jawaharlal Nehru in 1938. In its early years, it was the voice of the freedom movement, and in 1942, after the Quit India movement, it had to close down. The paper shut shop using an editorial with a title that punned on the name of an 1882 creation by the Bengali picture to signify that the ideals of the nation were being blocked. What was the title of the editorial? So, when National Herald shut down, they used a headline that punned on a famous creation by the person you see in the visual. And through this headline, they wanted to signify that the ideals of the nation were being compromised. Or rather, the ideals were being blocked. This is the person. So if you can identify him and figure out what is the famous creation attributed to him. Very, very famous Indian with a very, very famous creation to his name. You need to figure that creation and then make a change to it. But you can get it even from the last sentence of the second para.
So how much do you need to modify the word?
You just need to change one letter. You just need to change one letter.
Change or add? Change is good, add, remove everything, right?
change. No need to add or subtract. You need to change one letter. The total number of letters remain the same. Okay, question number 2. China was in the middle of a construction boom of nuclear plants when the 2011 Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster happened. The reactor meltdown forced China to put on hold the construction of around 25 plants, and their fate remained unclear at that point in time. This crisis resulted in a memorable headline that spawned the name of a TV series with a title sequence that had a fuse burning across the screen. What was the headline? Again, you just need to change one letter. Think of a famous imagery where you have a fuse burning across the screen. And it's not just a TV series. You'll find this imagery in movies as well. Movies based on the TV series. See if we can think of movies based on TV series. And then again, make a change like in the previous question. Again, you just need to change one letter. Look at the fact that the work at the nuclear power plants were not happening anymore. Nothing was getting done at these nuclear power plants. Think of a famous TV series / film series where you prominently have the imagery of a fuse burning out across the screen. In fact, each film in the series begins like this, a fuse burning out across the screen. Or something that conveys a similar sense. But in the TV series, for sure, it begins like this every time. Number 3, Michael Jackson's memorial service in 2009 at the Staples Center in LA was a major source of controversy. This was because high-priced tickets were introduced for entry into the function for normal citizens. The media were also up in arms because of the tens of thousands of dollars they had to spend. It should be spent, not spent, to get permission to cover the event. How did the media end up describing this attempt to profit from the death of an individual? Look at the fact that they had to spend a lot of money and somebody had passed away. It's nothing Michael Jackson specific. Any other person could also have fit in as a proper noun here. A famous person has died and they are fleecing the public. Basically, you don't need to make any modifications. You just need to add a few miscellaneous characters. So think of something that conveys the sense of fleecing somebody, trying to take extra money from them, and then see if you can add a couple of special characters, couple of symbols rather, and that will give you the pun. If you get the right phrase, just add. I can tell you what symbols to add. Should I? Any objections? No objections. You just need to add a few dots. You just need to add a couple of dots. Or else simply see if you can put the right phrase here. We'll still give you points. Somebody has died and you're fleecing the public. Okay, let's go back and look at all 3 questions again. You can start sending in your answers. Number 1, what was the title of the editorial? A very, very famous Bengali. And again, this was a Bengali who was involved in the freedom movement and had a monumental rallying creation during the freedom movement.
You said just one letter change, right?
One letter has to be changed, that's all. look at the fact that the newspaper has shut down. The newspaper has shut down. And the title hints at the fact that the ideals of the nation are being blocked. Number 2, what was this headline? Again, nothing is happening at all these nuclear plants. If you have the right TV series / films, again, change one letter. And number 3, simply give me the actual phrase. You don't need to add any dot or anything. If you have the right phrase, we'll give you points. The phrase itself is a nice pun here. You can start sending in your answers. Send in and tag me, please.
Our team had a question whether there is negative marking for these written rounds.
No negs.
Major, could you go back to question 2?
Yeah, sure. Last call for answers. So far, I have it from 2, 3, 1, and 5. 6, waiting for 7, 8, and 4. 4 is no longer here. So 7 and 8. Okay, got all bounces. So people on the call, you can now take a shot. Number 1, what was the title of the editorial? Anyone?
Vande Mataram.
So Vande Mataram became Bande Mataram. It was shut down, so Band. So that was Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. So Bande Mataram. 2.
Mission Impossible.
Not a mission impossible, but you're on the right track. Nothing is happening at the nuclear power plant.
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible is the series. So this is Fission Impossible. And number 3.
Ripped off, RIP.
Rip off. So person has died and you're fleecing public for the same. So rip off. So let's give out points.
Is there any points for Mission Impossible?
We'll give part points, don't worry. So team 1 gets 10 to team 1. Team 2 gets 15. Team 3 gets 20. Team 3 gets 20. Team 4 have left. Team 5 gets 10. Team 6 gets 20. Team 7 gets 15. They had a very nice pun for the third part. They said making a killing, which is again a very nice pun. Team 7 gets 15. And team 8 gets 0. Sanjana, can you confirm if you have all the scores?
Yeah, 0.
And if it is possible for you to read out the total scores at this point?
Team 1, team 2. Can you hear me?
You're breaking up.
Okay, 1 second. Hello, is it clearer now?
Yeah, better now. Yes.
Okay. Team 1 has 80. Team 2 has 60. Team 3 has 95. Team 5 has 70. Team 6 has 110. Team 7 has 85. And Team 8 has 35.
Okay. Anti-clockwise, starting with team number 8. Question 1 to team number 8. In 2014, botanists from Columbia and West Virginia universities published their findings after sampling pine rings in the Hungay Mountains. This helped them piece together a precise chronology of local climatic conditions from 980 to the present. They found that from 1211 to 1225, the region enjoyed sustained bountiful rains and mild weather, unlike anything the place has experienced. The long run of good conditions also resulted in an abundant growth of grass. The tree rings, however, showed a sudden lurch into much colder, drier conditions around 1258 when plants hardly grew. What, according to the scientists, did the climatic conditions help put in place? So, between 1211 and 1225, because of the ideal climatic conditions, what happened? I'm going to call out if hands are not visible. Shikhar, we need both hands on your screen. Reed,
Is 1258 relevant?
1258 is relevant for the fact that after that nothing grew. After that, climatic conditions were unfavorable. That may be helpful. So in the beginning, climate was very helpful, but after, let's say, the mid 13th century, it was very, very bad. Look at the timeline and look at the general area, Hungay. From that name, if you can figure out where all this is.
One is Swansea.
Okay. Anyone else? Last call for pounds. Closing the pounds, taking pounds only from team 1.
Can team 3 pounds?
Pounds is closed, sorry. Okay, got team 1's pounds. Team 8, you're direct.
Yeah, we'll say it enabled the Great Wall of China to be built.
Nice guess, in the ballpark, but not quite. Team 7.
Just ask if it's off.
Major Ritaz, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, go.
Okay, Major. So we say this was like during the Little Ice Age, and it essentially facilitated the.
What your heart says.
We'll say that it facilitated the construction of the terracotta army because the soil was a lot more conducive towards.
Nice guess, but not the terracotta army either. Team 6.
Yeah, we're not sure exactly, but we'll say this is in general the rise and fall of the Mongols, because 1258 after 1260 is around when they started going off the map, and 1211 is probably when their prime, they were conquering everywhere, and this sort of helped them.
Superb answer there from team number 6. So this is how supposedly Genghis Khan and the Mongols created the entire Mongol Empire. The climatic conditions were very favorable. There was enough plants for their horses to consume, etc., which is what supposedly enabled the flourishing of the Mongol Empire. Great answer there, team 6. Full 10 points to you. And on the pounds, team 1 also gets plus 10. 1 gets 10, 6 gets 10, and question to team number 5. In 2010, the Harvard Business School published a case study on customer-centric leadership. The learning point of the study was the incredible customer centricity for all the employees in the example studied, which, according to Rohit Deshpande, the professor of marketing and branding at Harvard Business School, exceeded the best cases documented, like the famed Singapore Airlines service. Even the top managers of the company could not explain the reaction of the employees. The study noted that nothing in the employees' training could have prepared them for the situation. The study received an excellent response, and most students termed it inspirational. What from couple of years earlier, when I say couple of years earlier, that is 2008, was the subject of the study? You could say employees.
Pouncing, Major.
Which team? 7? You could say
team 7.
Went over and above their call of duty in 2008 employees of a certain company, or let's say establishment rather, instead of using the word company. If it helps, the answer I'm looking for is something with an Indian context. An Indian context, 2008, employees of an establishment/company went over and above their call of duty. Nothing nothing could have prepared them for the situation. Last call. Okay, I'm closing the pounds
Team
with
1 is bouncing.
team 6 and team 1. Pounds is closed.
Major, I believe team 3 pounds just 1 second before you said.
I'll take your pounds. I'll take your pounds. No worries.
Thank you so much, Major.
So closing it with 1, 3, 6, and 7.
So are these phones still open?
Yeah, you had indicated your willingness, so you can go for it. Okay, got team 1's pounds. Team 5, you're direct.
Yeah, so it was the 2008 Mumbai terror attack.
So what specifically was the subject of the study?
How the employees of the Taj Hotel reacted.
Excellent answer. This is how the employees of the Taj Mahal Hotel reacted. All of them chose to stay back and ensure that the guests were safe despite having access to all the exits. That was the subject of the study. So 10 points to team 5. On the pounds, team 1 gets 10, 3 gets 10, 6 gets 10, and 7 gets 10. And question now to team number 4. No, not 4, team 3. Since 4 are not here, this will be team 3's direct. These guns are designed to fire on any intruder that encounters the wire that sets it off. They could be armed and left active for as long as the powder stayed dry. They came to be used for a specific purpose in the 18th and 19th centuries as a result of certain educational institutions springing up in US and Britain. Loaded at night and left armed by the user until his return the next morning, it was more of a night watchman than anything else. What are these guns called, or what specific purpose did they serve, or what context were they used in? Read the text again.
Team 2 is bouncing.
Okay. In the 18th and 19th centuries, they were left armed during the night. Their use was a consequence of educational institutions, certain educational institutions popping up. What specifically was the utility of these guns?
Team 1 is
Team 5 bouncing.
Okay. See if you can go through all educational institutions one by one, the prominent ones, the types of institutions that is, and look at the fact that they're left on at night and they sort of serve a night watchman duty. Okay, last call. So far, I have 3 teams bouncing. All right, we'll close the pounds. Team 3, you're direct. Team 3. Okay, I'll have to pass you team 3 if you don't have an answer.
I'm sorry, there was a confusion as to who is supposed to answer. Are these coffin torpedoes?
What do you mean by coffin torpedoes?
The name of the gun itself.
What purpose did they serve? Tell me what purpose they serve.
If you're talking about educational institutions to stop, like, as far as we understand, children, like for children who walked out of bed at night.
Okay, nice guess, but no. Team 2 pounced, team 1 pounced, team 8. Team 8. One of you from team 8. Great if you could answer or pass either.
Major, we pass.
Okay, team 8 passing, team 7.
Okay, Major, since around this time, a lot of like residential boarding schools with libraries and stuff were open, people would have to at night as well travel through areas that used to be like forest areas. So this is essentially to scare off animals that would wander onto places where students would be at night.
Nice angle, but no. Team 6.
Yeah, so Major, basically these were used for women, educational institutions for women to protect them at night.
So to protection of women at night. Okay. Team 5. Team 5 pounced. It was team 3's direct. Anyone else on the call want to take a shot? Everyone who pounced will get this correct. So teams 1, 2, and 5 all get +10. So the educational institutions in question are medical schools. So in medical schools, to practice anatomy, you need body. So these are cemetery guns. So basically, these are installed in cemeteries to ensure people do not come and steal bodies and supply them to medical schools for dissection, to ensure that they remain buried. So good answers from teams 1, 2, and 5, who all get +10.
So nobody got it other than in the pound, right?
No, nobody got it.
Okay.
So question to team number 2 now. In 2010, science websites across the world like Scientific American and the NGM published a study from this biologist called Jim Brisky of Canterbury University in Christchurch. It was on an issue that developed due to a lack of adaptation of a couple of species due to the introduction of animals like the Polynesian rat, domestic cats, and the stoat to New Zealand specifically. This prompted him to propose a unique solution of extensive use of deodorants. What was the problem? What was the logic behind the solution? Look at the fact that you need to focus on New Zealand. And look at the fact that he's proposing extensive use of deodorants as a solution. See if you can.
Major team 3 is bouncing.
Okay.
Team 1 is bouncing.
Okay.
Team 5 is bouncing.
Team 6 is bouncing, Major.
Okay. Last call, waiting for 1 and 5 to complete their pounces. Got the other pounces.
Major, is pound still open?
It's open if you want to.
Yeah, or teammate pouncing.
Okay, closing with teammate 1, 5, and 8. Got 1 pounce. Just waiting for teammate. Got teammates pounce as well. Pounce is closed. Team 2, you're direct.
Should we answer now?
Yeah, go ahead.
We'll say the problem is people getting skunked, and logic behind using deodorant is so that they don't smell bad.
Okay, so you're going with skunk as your animal, and so that they don't smell bad. I'll pass you. Team 1 pounced, team 8 pounced, team 7.
So essentially,
Team 7, if you were speaking, I couldn't hear anything.
would this be to protect sheep?
Not sheep. Team 6 pounced, team 5 pounced, team 3 pounced. It was team 2's direct. Anyone on the call? Anyone else on the call? Okay, we'll let one of the teams answer this. Team 6, do you want to explain the answer?
Yeah, these should be flightless birds. They usually don't have adaptations against like land predators because they're recently introduced and for a long time. So we guessed that they were getting caught out because they were emanating smells. So the deodorant was basically to throw away the smell.
Could not have explained it better than that. The flightless birds in New Zealand, basically, they did not have any native predators, but they really smell bad. So after the introduction of these predators, they could actually hunt these flightless birds using the smell. So this is the unique mode of conservation proposed for these flightless birds in New Zealand. They simply spray deodorants on these birds, and that masks the bad smell, and that prevents them from being hunted out. Nicely explained there by team number 6, and full 10 points to team number 6 there. On the pounds, team 6 gets 10, team 8 gets 10, team 1 gets 10, team 5 gets 10, but team 3 will get a -5. And
Major, could you ask them to tell the scores?
Yeah, I'll repeat. Team 3 gets a -5. 1, 5, 6, 8 all get +10.
The total scores, I meant, sorry.
Yeah. Sanjana, if you could repeat the total scores at this point.
Yeah, sure. Give me a second because I'll be adding it while I do it. So team 1 has 120 points.
Read, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, if you could mute yourself, the other teams. Yeah.
Okay. So team 1 has 120 points. Team 2 has 70. Team 3 has 100 points. Team 5 has 100 points. Team 6 has 140 points. Team 7 has 95 points. And team 8 has 45 points.
Right? So I think 5 questions to go, and this will be direct to team number 1 now. This is the evolution of the logo of the Norwegian chemicals company, which has a major presence in India as well. Which company's logo? Part 2, what is represented by the object that served as the first logo on the extreme left? Why did it have to be altered to feature someone carrying it? So you can see there is a logo on the extreme left. That was the original logo. Then they thought, okay, now we sort of need to change this, and we need to indicate that it is being carried by someone. And if it helps, this change happened in the first half of the 20th century. They felt the need to change this in the first half of the 20th century.
Team 3 will pounce.
Okay. I'm sure if you moved around, you probably would have come across the current logo that I've blanked out at the end. Team 3, if you're pouncing, kindly send it in. We'll close it once you're pouncing.
Did you give any additional hints?
You would have definitely come across the logo if you move out. It's pretty common. One of, let's say, in the top 5 or 10 companies of its kind in India. And you can actually, okay, let me not give that away.
Major, whose direct is this?
This will be one's direct. Okay, let's close the pounds. Team 3, that's your pounds, right? Okay, team 3, I'll close the pound since I don't see anything else from you. Team 1, you're direct now.
We'll say the company is Haber.
Mm-hmm.
The object is a sledgehammer,
Mm-hmm.
and it changed in the first half of the 20th century to avoid confusion with the communist symbol of a hammer.
Okay, so a Haber, sledgehammer, and avoid confusion with the communist symbol passes to team 8.
Yeah, so our guess is going to be Jotun, and yeah, we don't have guesses for the other parts.
Okay, your turn for the first part, and no guesses for the other part. Okay, team 7.
Major, we just so first part is your turn. Third part is communist logo, essentially, not to be confused with.
Okay.
And the second part is just a hammer.
Do you want to add one more word?
Sledgehammer. Hammer and sickle. Like hammer and sickle, sledgehammer.
Just look at the answers you gave me and see if you're gonna say something very specific. So far, you said your turn. You said communist symbol for part 3, and you said a hammer for part 2. But do you want to add something else? We'll just give you one more attempt.
Hammer, with the red color.
No.
Just look at the answers that you've given so far, and then see if you want to add something more.
One second. A worker's hammer.
Okay, I'll pass you to team 6.
What were their answers?
They said Jotun, and third part they said communist symbol, and second part they said hammer and then did not add anything.
Okay, 1 second. Yeah, we'll say Jotun, communist confusion. I mean, communist symbol, and hammer for maybe mining or something.
Hammer for mining passes to team 5.
So we'll say company is your turn. Object is Thor's hammer, and the alteration because it was red in color and resembles a communist symbol.
You were the only persons to say Thor's hammer. Since you said Jotun, the obvious answer would be Thor's hammer. So this is Norse mythology. So Jotun paints named after Jotuns from the giants in Norse mythology, which is why the hammer is Thor's hammer, which the Jotuns had stolen. So wanted the keyword Thor in your answer. And the third part, of course, is the communist symbol. So team 1 gets 3 points for saying communist symbol. Team 8 gets 3 points for saying Jotun. We'll give 6 points to team 7 for saying 2 out of 3 parts and coming close with the hammer thing also. 6 points to team 7. But the full 10 points to team number 5 for getting Thor as well. But team 3 will get a -5 on the pounds. Since they did not give anything for 2 parts, they only give me 1 part, needed all 3 parts on the pounds.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, I'll repeat.
Yeah.
Team 1 gets 3, team 8 gets 3, 7 gets 6, 5 gets 10, 3 gets -5. Question to team number 4 now. Sorry, 3 again now, since 4 are not here. The Swedish ivy is a plant with glossy round leaves which show a deep purple color in the center, the stems, and the underside of leaves. The name is deceptive as the plant doesn't cling to walls with the roots when it grows. It's not native to Sweden and is not part of the genus ivy. In 1984, the Time magazine covered the plant in detail along with its ornamental issues, paying special attention to its use as a gift by a diplomat called Thomas J. Kiernan in 1961. The recipient of the gift, in turn, displayed it somewhere, and it still remains in place there. Where can this gift be found? Even now, if you go and check photographs of this location, you can see this plant and its descendants still there. Where can this gift be found? This is how the plant looks like.
Team 3 is bouncing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at the fact that it was a diplomat, and the diplomat, if it helps, gave it to a very, very famous, prominent person of the times. From the timeline, if you can figure a very prominent person and then see if you can pick a quiz-worthy answer. Even now, if you Google for photographs of this location, you can still see this plant or its descendants there. Team 1, Nandagopal, can we have both your hands on the screen, please?
Could you repeat that?
No, I said I asked somebody to show their hands, that's all. There are multiple people still not showing hands. It's a very, very simple thing to do. Not sure why people can't follow this. Look at the timeline, early 1960s. Think of the most prominent, famous people in the world around then, and the fact that it's a diplomat who's giving this out. And even now, if you Google photographs of this famous location, you can still see this plant or its descendants in photographs there. Team 3, you don't need to pounce. I believe it's your direct. Team 3 can unpounce. It's your direct. Anyone else pouncing? Last call. Okay, I don't see any more indications. So closing the pounds, team 3, you're direct. You can answer on the mic and not on the pounds.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Our teammate's mic wasn't working. We sent in the pounds already. Can
Which
you
team
take
is this?
teammate pounds?
Teammate, I've already got your pounds.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Long back. I got your pounds long back. So closing the pounds, team 3, you're direct.
Oval Office.
The Oval Office is all that we were looking for. This is the President of the United States. John F. Kennedy received the Swedish ivy from the diplomat. And even now, if you Google photographs of the Oval Office, you can still find the plant and its descendants prominently displayed on the mantelpiece there. So +10 to team 3. And on the pounds, +10 to team 8 as well. 3 and 8 both get +10. 3 questions to go, direct to team number 2. On 4th July 2014, the Queen launched Queen Elizabeth, an aircraft carrier and the largest warship ever built for the Royal Navy. This vessel was put together at the Rosyth dockyard in Scotland and provided employment to more than 10,000 people, most of them locals. The launch, however, was only the second time something was done, the only other recorded example being the launch of the HMS Sutherland in 1996. Even though you could say the launch was a tribute to the construction efforts, the fact that it was constructed in Scotland, that is, the launch was a tribute to the fact that it was constructed in Scotland. There was another reason postulated for why this was done. For that reason, think of the timeline 2014. Think of that bit for the second part. So what was unusual about the launch? What was the reason for? What is the other reason postulated for why this was done? So there are a couple of images. Won't really be helpful. I just wanted to show you images of the launch. But focus on the fact that the construction happened in Scotland. And think of how ship launches happen.
Major, you need the reason that's being postulated as well, right?
Correct, yes.
We show the image again.
Yeah, sure. Again, image won't really be helpful. Ignore the image.
We're pouncing, Major.
Which team? I believe that was team 7. Team 3, I don't see hands from multiple people. This is the last time I'll be asking you to show hands. Team 3, kindly show hands. There are multiple people not showing hands. I need to see hands, please.
Teammate is bouncing.
Go for it. 6,
Yeah,
7, and
okay.
8 so far. Think of how ships are launched and guess accordingly. All teams, think of the exact moment when ships are launched. Think of the exact moments that signify ship launches and guess accordingly. And look at the timeline.
Team 1
2014.
sponsor.
Okay. We'll close it with team 1's bounce, and as soon as 8 also send it in.
Did you say Scotland was relevant for the first part also?
Very much, yes. And think of how ship launches happen. Team 1, is that your final answer? We'll just wait for team 1 to indicate if that's your final answer. Since the question is asking for 2 parts. Team 1, can I move on? I've asked you a couple of times. So okay, I'm guessing team 1 will allow me to move on. So pounce is with, sorry, who answered the previous question? Yeah, team 3 answered the previous question. So team 2, you're direct. Wait, just give it a sec. Team 1 are finally typing. Okay, got team 1's pounce. Team 2.
The second part will say this was a time when the Scottish referendum where they wanted to leave the UK, and in order to appease them, they launched it from Scotland.
Okay, and what was unusual about the launch of the ship?
Well, generally, like the ports around Scotland are frozen, but this was. We'll pass for that.
Okay, team 1 pounced, team 8 pounced, team 7 pounced, team 6 pounced, team 5.
For the reason, we'll say the same for Japanese during that Scottish referendum.
Mm-hmm.
And for the launch, normally they'll use champagne, but because it's Scotland, they use whiskey instead. Like they pop the
Perfect
bottle.
answer. That is the full 10 points. Superb answer. Normally using the ships are launched using champagne. They break a bottle of champagne on the hull of the ship. But this was Scotland, which is why they used a bottle of Scotch whiskey to launch the ship. And this was supposedly done because the Scottish referendum was taking place then. And this reaffirmed the value of the UK staying together. So this was just to appease the Scots that, okay, we are using your whiskey instead of champagne. So please stay with us. So superb answer, team 5, you get the 10. On the pounds, team 1, I'll unfortunately have to give you a -5. Team 6 will also get a -5. 1 and 6 both get -5. 7 gets a +10, great answer on the pounds. But 8 also will get a -5. So 1, 6, and 8 get -5. 7 gets plus 10, 5 gets plus 10, and team 2 will get a plus 5 for the second part. We have 2 questions to go. Can we have a quick look at the scores again? Sanjana, if you have them.
Yeah, I do. So team 1 has 118 points. Team 2 has 75 points. Team 3 has 105 points. Team 5 has 120 points. Team 6 has 135 points. Team 7 has 111. And team 8 has 53.
Okay, I don't think the quiz is still decided. Still, anyway, at least 2 or 3 different teams can win it. So 2 questions to go. This will be direct to team number 3. In 2016, this country had been keen to dump its national standard, which incorporates the British ensign in its top left corner and replace it on Constitution Day, that is 7 September, with a new design. However, the Prime Minister of the nation announced on 18th August that it was deeply moving to see the citizens rally around the flag thanks to a feel-good factor. He also said the flag design was going to stay and not be changed for the foreseeable future in the background of this development. Which country's flag is this? From deciding to change the flag design, why did they all of a sudden said, okay, we don't want to change the flag design. Let's stick with the old design. So what was this common uniting factor? What got people to rally together around the flag because of which the country did not adopt a new flag? I'll show you the flag of the country. This is the flag. Which country's flag is this, and why did they not change the design? So they wanted to change this because of the connotation of colonialism. But look at the timeline. This is all happening in August 2016. Citizens rally around the flag thanks to a feel-good factor.
5 pounds.
Okay. Again, look at the timeline, August 2016. What can you think of from that timeline? Something very, very prominent. Or think of 2016, ignore the August bit. First think of 2016 and see if you can, again, think of all that can get people to come together and celebrate. A lot of people were coming together, celebrating with the flag in their hands. That gave them the idea, okay, let's stick with the old design. Team 5, were you pouncing? Since I cannot see a pounce from you yet.
Yes.
Okay. Kindly pounce.
Who's direct is it, Major?
This will be 2's direct. No, sorry, 3's direct.
Yeah,
Pounce.
6 will
pounce then.
Okay.
Team 7 pouncing.
All right. We'll close it with 6 and 7's pounds. Sorry. Seven waiting for your pounds.
Just a second, Major. Sorry.
Sure.
Who's
Okay.
direct is this, sorry?
Yeah, this will be team 3's direct, team 7's bounce in, team 3 you're direct.
So I'll answer from team 3. From August 2016, is it because hello?
Yeah, go for it. Can hear you.
Hello, am I audible?
You are audible, yes.
Yeah, so Fiji won a medal at the Rio Olympics, and this flag was raised. So people, for the first time, I think, so people were sympathetic for empathetic for this flag, that it was the one that was raised at an Olympic event. So they did not no longer want to change it.
Is that your final answer?
And this is Fiji. Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
there anything else that you want to add?
No. From
Okay.
August, we can infer only this.
Okay, let's see if we can come back to you. Let's see if you get a better answer. Team 2.
Okay, so the country is Fiji, and they won the gold in rugby for the first time.
They won the gold in rugby. This is the rugby gold, that's specifically the most prominent, famous sport in Fiji that got all the people of the country to come together and celebrate. So rugby is the key word there. So we'll give the full 10 points to team number 2. We'll give 8 points to team number 3 for saying everything but rugby. 8 points to team number 3. 10 points to team number 2. And on the pounds, team 6 gets a +10. But team 5 gets a +10. But team 7 will unfortunately get a -5. And the final question of the general quiz at Interrobang 2022 will go direct to team number 1. And once again, can we have a look at the score, Sanjana? I think might be pretty close at this point.
Yeah, sure. Team 1 is at 118. Team 2 has 85 points. Team 3 has 113 points. Team 5 has 130 points. Team 6 has 145 points. Team 7 has 106 points. And Team 8 has 53 points.
All right, thank you. Last question of the quiz will be direct to team number 1. Here goes. The 1968 film Planet of the Apes features the astronaut George Taylor, played by Charlton Heston, crash landing on a strange planet in the distant future where apes have evolved into creatures with human-like intelligence and speech. In the film, he is brought before a tribunal of 3 judges to determine his origins. As the trial progresses, the court becomes aware that the evidence produced in his favor is completely at odds with their dogma. What does the court do at this point when the evidence is produced? In an effort to emphasize their refusal to acknowledge information contrary to their views. Read the question carefully.
Team 7 pouncing.
All right. Quick bounce from team 7.
Team 8 is also pouncing.
All right.
Team 3 is pouncing as well.
All right. So 1, 6, and 1, 7. Sorry, 3, 7, and 8. Waiting for 3 and 8's answers. Totally love how team 8 have sent in their answers. Last call. I'm closing with team 3 otherwise.
Do you want, what did the court do with George Taylor?
Correct. So during his trial, evidence was produced that was completely at odds with their dogma. So basically, they are trying. So the court is saying, okay, we refuse to acknowledge this information. How exactly did they portray this?
Will bounce, team 2.
Team 2 will bounce.
Okay. Okay, I'll close it with team 2 if no one else is bouncing. Yeah, team 2 taking a hint from something I said earlier. Okay, closing the pounds and answered by very aptly Vedart in the audience as well. Thanks a lot, Vedart, for this chance to be at Interrobang 2022. Vedart, Anshul, and all other members of the NALSAR Quiz Club. Pounds is now closed, and question is with team number 1. Team 1.
We'll say they were given the evidence of evolution as ape evolving into man. So they turn the picture around and show man evolving into ape, that they're the supreme beings.
Very nice angle of looking at it, but not what we are looking for. Passes to team 8 who have pounced. Team 7 have also pounced. Team 6, now it is your turn.
Yeah, we'll say it's the 3 monkeys. So one with eyes closed, ear closed, and mouth.
There are 3 judges here. 3 judges. This is the Planet of the Apes. So judges on Planet of the Apes would be monkeys themselves. And they don't want to acknowledge any information. So this is what they did. They assume the 3 wise monkeys who of see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Excellent answer there, team number 6 plus 10. On the pounds, team 3 gets a -5. Team 7 gets a +10. And applause. I wish I could give more points to teams 2 and team 8, who both pounced with the 3 monkeys emojis. They sent in the 3 emojis of the 3 monkeys covering their eye, face, and ear. So 10 points to teams 2 and 8 as well. And with that, we are done with the general quiz at Interrobang 2022. Sanjana, if you could read out the final scores. Thank you very much from my side.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to confirm it's +10 to team 2, 6, 7, and 8, and -5 for 3, right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. So that these are the final scores. Team 1
If
has
you
a
could
high.
read it in the ascending order from the 8th place team to the 1st place team.
Okay. So like team 8 is at 63 points. Then it's team 2 at 95 points. Then it's team 7 at team 3 at 108 points. Then it's team 7 at 116 points. Next it's team 1 at 118 points. Then it's team 5 at 130, and then finally team 6 at 155 points. So the winner is team 6. And then second place it's team 5, and then finally third place is team 1. And
Perfect. Thank you very much.
team 7 was literally just 2 points behind.
Hard luck there, team 7. I think the neg on the previous question sort of did you in there. Hard luck, but very well done all 8 teams, and congrats to the top 3. Thank you so much, and hope all of you can take part in the other quizzes at Interrobang 2022, and hope to see you all at an offline edition next year. Back to you, Vedart and Anshul.
Yeah, thanks for being here, everybody. Thanks, Major, again for continuing this tradition of being with us at Interrobang, and hopefully in an offline state this can continue as well next year. The Attorney General